You're listening to the Cambridge Insider Podcast. On today's episode, we have a special guest, Seda, who is an expert in the Turkish international student market. This episode is sponsored by Vistamar School, redefining high school with rigorous, innovative education. Vistamar is a private, co-educational college preparatory high school in LA. Thanks for listening.
Cambridge Insider Podcast time. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cambridge Insider Podcast. As per usual, my co-host and colleague, Mariah Thompson. How are you, Mariah?
Doing good. Can't believe it is our last podcast of 2025 because this will be released in December, and that's wild that we're already here. But looking forward to 2026 for sure.
Absolutely. 2024 has been, as always, I feel like in the industry, right? Challenging, but I know at Cambridge we've had a lot of positives with many of our partners and students, and I think it's been a rewarding year all round. Excited this week because we have a guest. We don't often have guests, so it is nice to have a guest. Seda, welcome to the Cambridge Insider Podcast.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. It is exciting for me to be here as well.
Seda, just share with our listeners, where in the world are you right now?
Okay, I'm in Turkey, Istanbul at the moment.
All right.
And it's a cloudy Istanbul day we are having at the moment.
Very, very cool. Cloudy Istanbul day. I love it. I don't think we've ever had a guest, or I know we've never had a guest from Istanbul before. So I know many of our partners, that we've been chatting the last couple of months, probably about half a year, about Cambridge Network and, our expansion into the Turkey market. So we've been really excited about that. We've seen a lot of growth there and a lot of potential in that market. And Seda is really, at this stage, heading up all of our operations and sales explorations in that part of the market. Seda, if you mind just, telling our listeners just really briefly sort of what exactly you do for Cambridge in the Turkey market.
Yes, sure. I work for over a year now with Cambridge Network and basically working with St. Mary's Online Academy, and working on the program mostly for dual diploma program we got new model now, and we are visiting schools, agencies, and building partnerships with them, and also individual student applications as well we received. So just basically introducing St. Mary's Online Academy to Turkish education market at the moment.
That's awesome. From your experience, you say you've been in the role for about a year. My mind has it at like 6 months, but it's been more than a year, which is excellent. What has the response been? Turkey is a market that we're not that familiar with. We've been very involved with China, Vietnam, and Korea. What has the response been from the Turkey market, for a product like St. Mary's Online Academy?
Yes, Turkey is buzzing with students who are aiming big, and you can really feel the ambition here. Everyone wants global opportunities and better English skills, a diploma that opens international doors. And that's exactly where Samoa fits in. So that's why the response has been really great so far. And it's because it's flexible, it's American accredited, and it gives students the chance to level up without turning their whole school life upside down. So Turkey is the perfect match right now, I think, for small programs.
That's awesome. Just from what you said there about it being flexible, being online, is the ambition of students in the Turkey market more for cost-effective online programs like SMOA, or is there also an ambition potentially for some of those students to come to the US in person? A lot of our programs and partners that listen to this podcast are very used to that traditional model of students that actually come here for a year or 2 years, 3 years. Is there that potential, or is the market more focused on the online?
At the moment, more focused online actually, because if you consider the distance between Turkey and America, and it's huge, and also the age group we are working on, it basically this program gives students a shortcut to global skills doing online. They get access to American teachers, strong academic courses, and totally different learning approach that really boosts critical thinking and communication. Plus, getting diploma, US diploma, while staying in Turkey is a huge advantage for university applications, and they can do it by staying at their home and without leaving their families behind, because Turkey has got quite traditional family structures, so that suits the Turkish families very well, actually. That's why they prefer online teachings to going abroad, actually, at the moment, especially the distances, far distances.
It's interesting. That's very interesting insight into the culture. I know you recently, one of the big events that we've sort of targeted internally, and that you recently attended one of the sort of big education fairs in Turkey. You were representing SMOA at that fair. Can you tell us a little bit about that event? Again, many of our partners and people listening, we're used to a lot of what we see, on the ground in China, Vietnam, and Korea. Can you tell us a little bit about that event? What was the atmosphere like? The students that you were mixing with, the agency culture, just in a nutshell, a little bit about that event.
Last week, I was part of this English competition called Mind Clash, actually, and it brought students from different backgrounds. There was students from public schools, private schools, and also international schools. The contest had 3 parts: knowledge round, storytelling, and debate, and I was a jury. Honestly, it was a lot of fun. One thing I really want to highlight is the whole event was sponsored by St. Mary's Online Academy. And this support was very important because when organizations invest in education and give students a platform like this, it opens doors for them, boosts confidence, and encourages real cultural exchange. The first part of the competition has already been broadcast, and the next 2 will be aired in 82 countries. So it is incredible, really. It was great experience.
Wow. That's awesome to see, like, the inroads, right? Just for our listeners, like, Turkey has been, I think, can be fairly described as like a pipe dream for Cambridge. For many years, we were hoping to get that connection and start inroads into that market, because we knew there was potential there. But to actually now, after a year of working together, see a lot of that and see us represented at events and see the interest from students is, such a seminal moment, I think, for Cambridge. So that's awesome to see. Seda, I have 2 more questions for you. The first being, if we have US, in particular, some of our US school partners that are listening to this, I think one of the roles from Cambridge's side will be to expand SMOA and the online offerings that we can offer, to students in Turkey. I think one of the other goals for us will be to try and make some inroads into actually getting students from Turkey to come to the US, be that on short-term programs or maybe longer-term visits as well. I know you said that was a challenge for a variety of reasons, but if you're a high school partner or a high school that's listening to this, what are Turkish students looking for in a school experience or in an academic educational experience?
They are really looking for that they're focusing on options that give them international opportunities. They want programs that strengthen their English, help with critical thinking, and also prepare them for universities abroad, actually. And the flexibility is the key because they're juggling with their schools, homeworks, and extra courses. And they want something to go with their regular life and then make their life easier while studying. And of course, they want a program that's recognized worldwide. So the diploma actually opens doors in the US, Europe, and other countries.
Excellent. From my conversations with you as well, I've noticed, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but the Turkish market is also fairly price sensitive. It's not as, economically maybe not at the same standard as what China is, that has a lot more ability to afford expensive programs. Is that fair to say?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Awesome. Right. Great insight, Seda. I have only one more question for you, and listeners of the podcast will know that usually I throw in a fun question at some stage, and my fun questions are always to do with food. But for somebody that's never visited Turkey, I've heard a lot of great things. I've never been. What is your favorite and maybe one of the more famous foods that if we were to be able to visit Istanbul at some stage, we would be seeing in the streets and enjoying?
In the streets, we can say the kebabs, basically. Kebabs are the main one and a very delicious one. My favorite one as well, Iskender kebab with yogurt and sauce on the top.
Terrific. That sounds like reason enough for me to come to Istanbul is just for the kebab.
You
So
wouldn't regret, yeah.
I'm sure I wouldn't. I'm sure anybody that's traveled with me knows that I have a big appetite for foods from interesting places around the world. Before we end off, Mariah, anything else that you wanted to add? It's been such a pleasure having Seda here, just giving us some insight into a market that we don't know a lot about. Anything from your side?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, like, it's just so cool to hear, even if the market is like currently just right now for mostly online students, it just like shows our current partners and future partners that like we're always saying what our mission is to strive for global harmony through education. And that doesn't just look like bringing students here to the US. It looks like collaborating and meeting students in the country they're in the way that they can. And it's allowing us to break barriers to be where they're at. And so like, even if this connection currently right now doesn't affect your school program, it does in a way because you're partnering with us and this is our mission. And so you're supporting the mission to connect education throughout the world, to give people equal opportunities to education throughout the world, and to have a global mindset. And so I just think it's just so cool that it just really is a new way that we're leading out our mission. And it's just cool to see, like, even if we have a partner school in California, that they're partnered with Cambridge, who's partnered in all these other countries, there's just that one door connection there, that a global connection that we could even make to them there. So I just think it's just so fascinating and I love it.
I definitely agree, especially in the events like this. It meant that we are not just an online name or just logo behind a website. Actually, we are St. Mary's show that they are actually there supporting Turkish students, and existence gives them the strength as well, and helping building real connections. It was great in that respect as well.
Awesome, Seda. Thank you so much. To all of our listeners, I know there might be, and I've answered a lot of these questions, or at least had conversations about a lot of questions about the Turkey market with our partners. If you guys have questions, feel free to send them through to the pod, and Mariah and I can get those answers from Seda. And if we need another episode or another feature in the future with Seda represented, we'll certainly do that. I love the fact, just to echo what both Mariah and Seda have said, I love the fact that Turkey is now an option. International education is always evolving, and we're always looking at different ways to meet that evolution. And I think this is a great next step for Cambridge. And Seda, thanks for all the great work you do. To all of our listeners, remember to like, listen, subscribe. And we probably won't speak to you until 2026. So have a festive and safe and healthy remainder of the year when this episode does come out, and we'll see you all around the next episode in 2026. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Cambridge Insider Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. For more Cambridge updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Have a great week and stay connected.